The Jets have had a few injuries in training camp. We'll give you guys the latest and the next man up mentality that'll be happening here. Plus, the latest reports from practice. So we got the biggest public practice for Jets training camp so far. That'll be today. Let's roll, baby.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Man, oh man, we are thick into training camp. We've got the biggest public practice about to happen today in the coming hours. That'll be happening here on a Saturday. Day off Sunday. Pads come on Monday, and we are off to the races, baby. Hall of Fame will be this upcoming Thursday in just a handful of days. The Hall of Fame game and set us up for the rest of the preseason. It should be a lot of fun. To help me, kind of swim through these waters, he's again one of your favorites. Some love him, some hate him, some love to hate him, some hate to love him, but nonetheless, it is all the same. Let's bring him in. It is time to enter the Eisen zone, and here we are on a beautiful Saturday. Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Boy Green. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Fired up. Your wife loves the new intro, wishing good mornings all over the place. It is absolutely spectacular. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. Why not? Or perhaps Orange, 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 Orange. You got the Syracuse love happening there, Pop. You must be getting ready for the College Football 25 video game. The season right around the corner. Must be a lot of that jazz happening.
That's right. That's right. The last time I wore this jersey, I believe we were standing on the field in the Carrier Dome. I don't care what they call it now. In the Carrier Dome, posing for a picture with the one, the only Eric Dungy, one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in Syracuse football history.
One of the best. I love and miss Dungy. I don't know what the hell he's doing now, but boy, he was a great guy, a great quarterback, and hopefully Syracuse has another one in Kyle McCord. And by the way, I've been doing great work in College Football 25, so shout out. We're in the ACC Championship game against Georgia Tech, so things are going great. We had an 11-1 regular season, and we'll see where all that jazz goes. That should be a doozy. But let's go ahead.
Is it a coincidence?
Yeah.
That we're going to go see the Rambling Wreck at Georgia Tech play Notre Dame at as one of our events for the Father-Son weekend in the ATL.
Wow, that it seems somewhat poetic that all of that is connected and coming full circle. So yeah, baby. Hopefully, it won't just be happening in a video game on that side. Hopefully, we see Georgia Tech for a quote unquote second time later in the season in the ACC championship game. On top of actually seeing them in person, that's going to be cool. It's going to be a historic weekend. That weekend coming up in October. We talked about that before for folks who don't know. Obviously Father's Day is many months before October, but what me and my father have been doing since, what was the first year, Dad? Do you remember?
Do I remember? 2016.
Okay, there you go. 2016, we've been doing this every year, celebrating a Father's Day extravaganza. So it's been spectacular. And more chapters to be written in that story, certainly here. So what we'll do is we'll recap all the injuries real quick. Nothing too major, so breathe a sigh of relief, Jet fans there. But they're certainly worth mentioning, especially here in training camp and the next guys that could step up. So let's run through all of these real quick. First off, Xavier Gibson didn't get hurt yesterday. He got hurt actually on Thursday, but it was at the tail end of practice, so we had no update. Robert Saleh gave us an update yesterday afternoon. It's going to be a week or two with Xavier Gibson, which means we'll see who potentially can step up to the plate. I won't spoil some of our future conversations. The bigger one was Jake Hansen. He's one of our top reserve offensive linemen. He's set to miss, quote unquote, a couple of weeks, according to Robert Saleh. So we had that one as well. The one other injury that happened that we have no update on is Brandon Eccles. He's our top reserve corner that has experience both on the boundary and even a little bit of slot action. He left Friday's practice with the trainer, but no update. I will also give you guys some positives. ABT returned to team drills for the first time, and Morgan Moses participated in individual drills, so has not gone to team drills yet. But Saleh sort of indicated that both of those two will be ready for next week, which means we'll have our starting 5 offensive line well above a month away from the season, which is the first time that has happened to the Jets in many years. Let's go through a couple of pieces here, Dad, of this. So we'll start off with Xavier Gipson. He's out for a couple of weeks. The main beneficiary, I would say, first off, right off the bat, would be Malachi Corley. But Saleh continues to go out of his way to say, ooh, raw route running. Raw route. It has a long way to go. He mentioned that back in May, and he just mentioned that again yesterday in late July. How big of an impact do you think Malachi Corley can have this year, despite what they keep saying? It seems to say to me that maybe he won't ever be the starting slot receiver this year, but they'll still use him in gizmo gadget plays and other things of that nature. But the constant repetitive nature of Saleh saying raw route running, he's got to work on that. It just doesn't sound like he's going to be ready anytime soon, and we should adjust our expectations accordingly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a function of Robert Saleh-isms, right? He's not very good on the mic. He's like the Miz, right? Not very good on the mic. So, if he had some tweaking to do, he's now has been exposed to the offense. He's got the playbook. And this really, to me, if he's not ready to play this year, to me, it's entirely on Malachi Corley. And what I mean by that is he could stay after, right? There's enough hungry people that could go through the playbook with him, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, if he's going to step up to the plate, or Tyrod Taylor, or even the 3rd, 4th, or 5th quarterbacks are never going to make the team, right? He could work on his route running before and after practice, take that dedication to tune that up. And so if he doesn't, and these comments persist, I would say it's more along the effort level of Malachi Corley. And I don't feel that's the case. He seems like based on, his some of the things we talked about during the draft, right? He had opportunities to leave the smaller school to go to a bigger school. He had that he wanted to stay there. He wanted to make a difference. He seems a very passionate person. So I don't see that happening. I think if he has problems with route running, it's something he could overcome. And I think that with the window, this maybe will be the burning platform for it to light a fire under his ass to get ready, right? Hey, I need to be ready.
Mm-hmm. It could be. NC mentions here, it could be why Corley went in the 3rd, which I think this is a great example, as we're in the middle of this conversation, we see this coming from NC. I think it's a great time to announce to the universe that when people say, why take a 1st-round receiver? Why take a Roma Dunze? Why take a Marvin Harrison Jr.? Why take a this? Like, you could just take a receiver later. Now, I'm not saying Corley's going to be a bust or anything. I'm not saying any of that conversation. I'm simply saying you're seeing perhaps why, to NC's point, that one guy goes in the 3rd round, and some of the things you lose from Corley to Marvin Harrison Jr. is, among a few items, is Marvin Harrison Jr. day one is expected to be a superstar. And Corley, while incredibly talented and he has a great physique and people think he can bounce off tackles left and right, and that's going to be wildly intriguing. The fact of the matter is he played 91.6% of his plays in college in the slot. So already from the get-go, he's in a box. Now, Corley has since said, I could do a lot more, but that's what they asked me to do. And perhaps that's true. But the fact of the matter is it might take some seasoning here for Corley. Now, I don't think he's going to be completely useless. I think with his skill set, you'll be able to just kind of get the ball in his hands. He's going to be able to make some plays. But to be a full functioning piece of the offense, I think that might take some time. I said it weeks ago, and I reiterate it now that Saleh has repeated those comments. When Saleh said those comments in May, I'm like, oh, man, maybe when we get out of this break, he's going to be like, wow, Corley has dramatically improved in that department, but maybe those are unrealistic expectations. So this is just going to be one table, and we'll see what happens there. So while naturally it seems that, again, Gibson out for a week or two, that would seemingly benefit Malachi Corley, one of the people that took full advantage, apparently, of the extra wide receiver snaps was not often named Malik Taylor. One of the million former Packer teammates that the Jets lured over from Green Bay. He apparently had a spectacular day yesterday, according to multiple reports. So I have nothing really more to say on that than, again, next man up opportunity. And I think it was Brian Costello of the New York Post said maybe he's got a path to make the roster all of a sudden when, guys get hurt, you get a chance to show a little bit more than perhaps you had in the bucket, and there all of a sudden you can make some plays. So, it might be something to keep an eye out for there on Malik Taylor, perhaps getting in on some of the fun, which is very interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, really, I believe Corley went in the third round because he played for Western Kentucky, not necessarily for any other reason. And this was one of the highest wide receiver drafts of recent history, right? 7 taken in the first round. So I think there's a lot to come. And just overall on these injuries, right? These injuries are what makes training camp, in the words of Boy Green, spicy, right? So people, when the backup gets hurt or when these players get hurt, that maybe is foretelling they may lose their job, right? So this is the opportunity of, in some cases, the third man up to become the second man up or the first man up. And then the guy that got hurt for not through any fault of their own could be on the practice squad or wearing a different uniform based on injuries and motivation of these other players.
And I'm glad that you brought that part up because that's where I'm going to go. The article that's linked in the YouTube description down below is on all the injuries, but specifically the main theme is on this next one, which is Jake Hansen. Now, Jake Hansen is a reserve offensive lineman. He was one of the different 13 combinations the Jets had last season. He was with the Jets this past year. He got some starting experience. He's got some versatility. And by a lot of the 53-man predictions, Jake Hansen was expected to make the roster at the tail end of the roster. Offensive lineman 9, offensive lineman 10, somewhere in that range. And he had a lot going for him. But I love what you just said because injuries can make things happen and then they change. Sure, before training camp, Jake Hansen could have been a roster lock in a lot of perspectives for people. Like, oh boy, he's making it based on experience. The Jets keeping offensive linemen. But then everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And then things happen. You can even go to, and this is not a make the roster or not make the roster thing, this is a starting thing, but in the 49ers, Harbaugh back in those days, Alex Smith was having this career renaissance season. It was spectacular. And against the Arizona Cardinals, like on a Thursday night football game, he suffers a concussion. And Harbaugh's like, all right, I got to go to the bench. Who's this Colin Kaepernick? Who is this guy? All right, you get in there. And then all of a sudden, he got an opportunity, and he never gave the ball back to Alex Smith. And that was despite the fact Alex Smith eventually came back to coach, I'm healthy. He's like, sorry, man, Kaepernick's hot, and we're just going to keep riding it. It went all the way to the Super Bowl, and they were a pass or two short from winning the whole gosh darn thing. But that just goes to show you that, your life in the NFL is not promised, whether that's from a starting position or not even making the roster potentially. So these next couple of weeks are going to be key for someone else stepping up to the plate. And I will use that to give a highlight here to my boy, Cole Laval, the former UFL All-Star from this past season. He played in the XFL, and then they merged the XFL and the USFL to form the UFL. That's where he played last season. He was in the championship game. They ended up losing, but this is a guy that has played every single position on the offensive line and exclusively has played guard the last 2 years. And he's got unusual size for a guard. He's at that 6'6", 340, 350 pounds. He's a big boy. And that brings a little bit of that Brutus beefcake to the table. And I'm just slamming the table hard for Cole Laval. There's no question about it. So, again, Jake Hansen, in a lot of respects, was a guy a lot of people thought was going to make the roster beforehand. But it's up to Cole Laval as an example of some of these reserve offensive linemen. The same goes for Xavier Newmans and other players of that nature. Brady Latham, I know Brandon somewhere here in the chat going, Brady Latham, Paul, Brady Latham. I mentioned Brady Latham. So he's among the guys, but I'll be rooting very, very hard for Cole LaValne. I think my hot take, it's not hot, it's lukewarm at best, is I think the Jets are 1,000% keeping 10 offensive linemen on the roster this year. They only kept 9. I think they want to insulate the hell out of this group and guarantee or make sure pretty damn close that we can't have the injury. Even if we have the injury situation last year, we'll be better prepared, long story short, for protecting Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would say that, the next man up, you find the diamond in the rough, right? You can pick 2 easy ones, right? Drew Bledsoe,
Sure.
getting knocked out of the game against Pittsburgh as a Patriot, bringing in that other person whose name I will not mention. And
it was against the Jets, actually, but I appreciate that. Yeah, Mo Lewis is the one who smacked Drew Bledsoe on that sideline, and he had to get rushed to a hospital, and then the Jets came in. The Pittsburgh example you're talking about, I believe, is the AFC Championship game where Tom Brady got hurt, and Drew Bledsoe came in for him ahead of the Super Bowl.
It. And then, obviously, when Kurt Warner came in and replaced his name escapes me. But anyways.
Matt Leinart?
No. Kurt Warner. It was
Trent Green. You're talking.
Trent Green. Thanks.
Yes.
And then I'll tell you the one that really stands out. This person, based on injuries, came into the game and dominated. Ended up with a solid NFL career. And Miles Austin. Asked the Kansas City Chiefs about Miles Austin. And they will.
He's a legend around here. He's our former wide receiver coach, and then he was kicked out of the league for gambling. But boy, he was a great wide receiver coach here for the Jets for a year.
And you know what? I'm going to digress. Just take a slight turn. There's a couple things that we do in the United States that are stupid. All right.
Okay.
There's probably a lot of them, and this is not really political commentary. This is right. If we have these gambling apps, if we have gambling almost everywhere. Yeah. Then where is the NFL with its head up its butt about penalizing or pro sports in general? Yes, you can't bet on your own team and play. You can't bet against your own team. You see what I'm saying? If you're going to go out there and play your bet, you should be able to bet. Yeah. You should be able to bet on your own team, which is what I think Pete Rose was accused of. If you're betting on your own team, how's that bad? You're going to try harder to win? Okay, sign me up. The other thing is, that's ridiculous. We need to all in this country get on board or not get on board with legalizing marijuana, right? We are a mess.
Wow.
Well, right. I don't care what it is.
For that ever in my life, but here we are.
We need to get on board or not get on board. That's what I'm saying, right? You go to whichever way you are. If we're going to get on board, everybody get on board and you tax the crap out of it like you do everything else and help offset some of the medical costs, or you don't. Because right now it's legal in most of the states or some of the states in the NFL, and you have players that live in the state where they can smoke marijuana, but they go to work and they can get fined, kicked out, suspended, kicked out of the league. It's just weird. That's the whole thing.
By the way, I just want to give you real quick. Here is what Miles Austin got banned from the NFL for a year for. Plus, the NFL suspended Miles Austin for wagering from a legal mobile account on table games in non-NFL professional sports. I believe I remember it being baseball. And they did confirm, because there's a difference. It's a much harsher penalty if you even bet on the sport of the NFL in general. That's normally I don't have all the rules in front of me, but that's normally much harsher than if you just bet on baseball or something. But said, quote, Miles did not wager on any NFL game in violation of the gambling policy. He's been fully cooperative with the investigation, and he's attempting to appeal. But it was, a legal mobile account on table games on non-professional NFL sports. It could have been college football too. Yeah.
And realize this. The only reason we have these different categories of injury, probable, questionable, blah, 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 is for gambling. That's the only reason it exists, right? The NFL is all in on gambling. So how stupid are they? Like, I mean, that's just dumb. But anyways, I digress. Sorry.
All right. One last injury just to mention here is Brandon Eccles, who left practice. Again, we have no update on it, but it's a good use of resources here to mention the injury and to say the player that has been on fire, OTAs, mandatory minicamp, training camp, he just continues to make plays. Quantez Stickers, the rookie that was originally scheduled to play for Lane College, but he had obviously traumatic, tragic family issues that resulted in him never playing college football. So he ends up playing in the 7-on-7 fan league and eventually in the Canadian Football League, where he wins Rookie of the Year last year. And then obviously is a late 5th-round draft choice for the New York Jets. He's just been making interceptions nearly every single day. And I'm going to be honest, I thought the story was great. I thought it was going to be cool. And okay, this guy's just going to make the roster by probably his draft position outside of blowing it, and he'll be at the tail end of the roster. We're just going to talk about this story a lot. But the production on the field has been spectacular. So shout out to him. And man, if this is serious in any way, boy, Stickers could be the top reserve outside of the trio. So we all talk about the great corners the Jets have: Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter II. But if Brandon Eccles is in any way come by, and maybe even if he isn't, maybe Stickers just beats him out for the job, all of a sudden he jumps in and he would be the top reserve, which is crazy to think about. The Jets haven't had a lot of big injuries on the defensive side of the ball. They had a few concussion issues at quarter last year, so if Stickers was on the team, he would have been playing in that Eagles game week 6. But it's just been spectacular. That story is just jaw-dropping. I can't believe all the plays he's making, and he's got a swagger, a confidence, is what Quentin Williams said the other day. He's got like a walk-on energy. He said he didn't want to be disrespectful saying this, but he has like a walk-on energy, but he almost says, like, I belong here based on his play and how he always asks questions. And, man, it seems like his teammates are in love with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
exciting story. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and like I said, the other positive news is, and feel free to comment on this, Pop, the starting 5. So last year, first off, we didn't know who the starting 5 last year was for a majority of the offseason because there was competitions. Like Mekhi Becton ended up coming out of nowhere and ended up taking a spot on the line very late in the preseason. But this year, we know who the starting 5 are, and they should all be playing together in full flower starting next week. AVT returned to team drills yesterday. Morgan Moses hasn't quite done that yet. He tore his pec last year. He had surgery on it, but he's participated in individual drills. But again, Solid does expect him to join team drills here in the very near future as this coming week. How important is it, Pop? Again, we're doing Hop on Pop here on a Saturday edition of Boy Green Daily. To the 200 people in the room, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Also, keep those memberships flowing, baby. I'd love to play a couple of those chimes today. You guys can make sure you join the group or gift it for others. We'd love to see it. But my question to you is, Pop, how important is this chemistry of this 5 actually getting a chance to play together before the season? Because if everything lines up as it should, again, Morgan Moses returning to teams next week, we would have a month plus of these 5 playing together and practicing together a month ahead of the season, which we haven't seen with the New York Jets in a long time.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, there's nuances that happen, every play with the offensive line, getting to build that relationship, knowing each other, the chemistry, knowing when and where you help out, chip out, double team, how all that coordination happens. So I think it's very important, especially during this time, where you get some of the pads on, where you do some of the scrimmages. We don't want to see them out there, 4 quarters of a few preseason games, but in the trenches, I think it's very important.
Yeah, it's great. All right, well, it happened. Jared B. spoken into existence, baby. Let's play those friggin' chimes. New member to the club, and a quick explanation of everything that you get from the Boy Green Coffee Club membership is, of course, you get you turn green in here on the chat, so you paint the chat green. That's beautiful. You get unlocked exclusive emojis for the Boy Green Coffee Club. Is spectacular. And of course, you get access to our new Discord channel, and feel free to hop in that. James Cafiro, welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and thank you to Jared B for gifting you that membership. Again, let's get some of that action throughout today's show. We'd love to see it. Thank you to Jared B for that. Yeah, damn straight, I got the guns out today. I got the Deadpool shirt on. We'll see if it's some. I'm a father now, so I don't know if I'll be able to see the Deadpool Wolverine movie today. Put your binoculars away, young man. Yeah, you can see these very clearly. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 This is what's happening. Booyah. Oh yeah. See, I know. Well, that explains why you wore a jersey. You didn't want to be intimidated by these 18-inch pythons coming at you, brother. I understand. I understand.
You get the units of measurement wrong. Those are centimeters, not inches.
No, I'm not sure. They translate to here to America. It totally would have made sense. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, absolutely, it does. So there we go. Yes, yeah, 1,000%. We have the gun show. Thank you for all the comments, by the way, everybody in the chat. Let's take a detour.
Don't forget
here.
Don't forget the boy green toss and maybe cage match that'll happen on September 19th. We'll match the boy green guns versus the bazookas.
Well, we'll take a peek at that in due time. But Father, we got to take a quick detour. It's not a detour from the Jets. The subject matter is still the Jets, but folks, once again, and yes, I will tell K-Brock, who's in our Discord, Paul's itching for that Madden rematch. Damn right. It's like a WWE match. Once you get beat, I'm like, I'm cashing in my rematch at SummerSlam. So I did. I played my first Madden game and streamed it to the chat. You guys can actually see it on the YouTube live feature to check out that Madden game. So I did stream it so everyone could see it. And I am 1,000%. I lost it at the end. I made a poor interception choice with Aaron Rodgers. As I was about to either tie the game or win the game at the end, and I blew it. So congratulations to K-Brock. He was the better man, but I do want to cash in my rematch clause, which again is in my contract. I just want to make that very clear. So at some point, we'll see if and when I'm able to cash that in here in the next couple of days. But to detour, the thing that I wanted to do was there was a video clip that we played earlier this week, and people wanted to hear your reaction. It's become a new thing. Oh, wait till Boy Green's father reacts to that. So I once again called into the Rich Eisen show, Pop. And, the fans want your reaction to this clip. So without further ado, let's give this a whirl. And we'll see here how you react to it. So I called into the show, and we played the win-loss game. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit in my fields as I was doing it. So the record was a little bit different than when we did it. But nonetheless, here we go. Let's roll the footage. This is me calling into the Rich Eisen show earlier this week. Let's roll the footage.
All right. Ed, what's on your mind, Paul?
Yeah, let's increase the energy, baby, and let's do that last game.
Okay, for the New York Jets. We already had one for the Giants. Now let's do one for the Jets. Paul in Syracuse, Monday Night Football. What happens against the San Francisco 49ers?
Reddick in or Reddick out, don't matter, baby. That's a Jets dub.
That's a what?
Dub.
That is a Jets dub, win.
Jets dub on Monday night in San Francisco. All right. Baby. And then they're at the Tennessee Titans.
Child, please. That's a win.
Home for the Patriots on a Thursday night.
Sorry, Brockman. Going to beat the holy hell out of the Patriots.
That's a 3-0 start. Home for the Broncos.
Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham. Child, please. That's another win.
Could be Bo Nix. 4-0 home. At home. They're in Tottenham in London against the Vikings.
It could be on planet Mars. Don't matter. That's another Jets win.
5-0 home for the Bills on a Monday night.
Josh Allen should have been the one to change his name. Jets. That's a Jets.
6-0 at the Steelers.
Oh, initiate the gag reflex. The Steelers quarterback situation sucks. That's a victory.
7-0 at the Patriots.
Pull out the broom. That's the sweep.
8-0 home for the Texans on a Thursday night.
Sorry, D'Amico Ryan. Saleh's the better ball. Former 49ers coordinator. That's a win.
9-0 at the Cardinals.
Yep. Oh, that paused at an incredibly unfortunate time. We'll see if we can allow that to buffer the background. Had to do it a different way today for today's interview. But let's take a halftime assessment here, Pop. What do you think of the list so far?
Well, let me give it a lot of thought. Moron! That's what I think.
Sorry, you're cutting out there, Pop. There it is. So I I see. Yes. So that's and by the way, you will hear in a second when that comes alive. That's actually a kind of a funny place for that to suddenly stop there. But yes, so my father's not impressed. I'm seeing throughout the comment section, not impressed at all, and seeing it there. But by the way, also as we're allowing that to load up for another second or two, as we're going to continue this journey here. Discord, for folks who don't know, which by the way is what you get access to when you become a Boy Green Coffee Club member. There's plenty of cool YouTube benefits, but an additional benefit, it's no extra cost. It's on top of the $2.99 that you get. You just get more value out of it. It's kind of like a community for us to chat, message, if you want to play men with each other, or College Football 25, or set up meetups and things. It's an easy way to do that and be a community and talk about Jet games and NFL football, anything else you guys would like. So Jared B runs that. He's our moderator in the chat. And every time a new member is added, we'll reshare that Discord link so you guys can link up and make sure you hop in there. So again, Jared B is doing awesome with that. And hopefully we'll get more and more people in that Discord. Okay, let's see if it is loaded up enough. Again, I had to do the Rich Eisen video here in a different way this morning, but let's give it a whirl. So let me do this here, see if I can. Okay, here we go.
No, at the Cardinals.
That's a loss. Let's be real.
Wow, I didn't expect that one. I might have pulled something on that one. I was really hitting the reverse. 9-1, home for the Colts.
Jets are Mr. Frontside. That's another one.
10-1 off the bye, home for the Seahawks. Gino.
Sorry, Gino.
Yeah.
That's another dub.
11-1 at the Dolphins.
They can't beat good teams. That's an L for the fish.
12-1 at the Jaguars.
Sorry, Goldilocks. Overhyped, overpaid. Trevor Lawrence, that's a W-I-N, baby.
13-1 home for the Rams.
They're eating that W. Early Christmas gift, that's a victory.
14-1 at the Bills.
Move over, Buffalo. The window's closed. It's the Jets.
15-1 home for the Dolphins.
That's a loss. But because we're resting our starters, because the AFC is wrapped up in the number one seed, baby.
Paul in Syracuse says the Jets are going 9-0 to start and 15-2 overall.
The Super Bowl time, baby. Let's go.
All right, Paul in Syracuse, thank you so much. The two Jet fans that have played the win-loss game. Syracuse Paul with a 15-2, and the famous, world famous, due to our Instagram reel of his predictions. Anthony in Pennsylvania had the Jets 14-3. Optimism is high.
I'm telling you.
It could be, but either way, there it is. So a 15-2 win-loss Jets record prediction. Again, a little higher than it was when we played. But, sometimes when the live bullets are flying and you're jumping all over the place, you don't know where you are. You just operated the current time frame. The current, I had no DeLorean, no jumping back in time and driving cars at certain miles per hour. You just have to operate in the moment. That's what I did. So, Pop, when that happened live on the show, and then later being shown it on the program, people were like, "Oh boy, we got to hear your Pop's take on that." So here we are. We got a first half assessment. Now we get the rest of the show, rest of that little episode there from the Rich Eisen show. Good shout out to Rich and the crew for taking the call. Paul in Syracuse striking again, as Shadow Realm says. So, what say you, Pop?
Yeah. So. You are actually spot on with your consistency of the calls of the Rich Eisen show.
Oh, okay.
The first time you called, you explained, you clearly demonstrated your moronism.
Yeah,
and
sure.
You
it was the call about the call for
right,
people
the
that
call
missed.
about the, how do I call
1-800 Rich?
Right.
Yeah, that's not the number, but like 1-800 Rich, how the hell do you call that? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So it's consistency. That call, the previous call, the same level of intelligence showing.
I see.
Because you said they were 16-1 is what you really said. The moment you say they gave up the game because of a bye, you're saying they're only going to have one loss. That's what you're saying.
Okay, so you're for it. love to hear it, baby. Yes. Alrighty. He is on board.
Okay. No.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, well, that is terrific. So, by the way, everybody, that is the latest on all the injuries against Xavier Gibson, week or two. Jake Hansen, a couple of weeks. He's our top reserve, one of our top reserves on the offensive line. We also have guys like Carter Warren, Wes Schweitzer, Max Mitchell, and a couple others. But he's an important cog in the machine when you're looking at the 53-man roster puzzle. And then Eccles, we don't really know what's going on there. But thankfully, the Jets have avoided anything serious with the main starters, which is good to see. Although, like I said before, I think Xavier Gibson has the inside shot at the slot position to start Week 1 Monday Night Football. I believe that starting three could very well be Mike Williams on the outside, Garrett Wilson on the other outside, and then Xavier Gibson in the slot, and an 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver set. I think that is very possible. But, like I said, we'll see what injuries happen, because injuries can change the equation here. We'll see if it's Corley or someone else potentially that steps up to the plate. But that's the latest for the injuries. We also have more, like I said, in the article in the YouTube description down below. But before we continue, Pop, is there anything you'd like to share before we hop on over to the calls?
Yeah, I do look at all the comments as they go by, and I would just share one thing with everybody is if you go in when you listen to something, you have preconceived notions, you're going to hear what you want to hear as opposed to what was actually said.
Okay.
And so when I'm saying things, if you actually just listening is fundamental, then you'll understand what I say. So when people troll away in the comments, I would just share with you that the lion does not concern himself with the bleeding of sheep. So if you listen to what I say,
that's going to go over well, by the way. I'm sure
that's fine.
Go over well.
So the fact is, if you listen to what I say and not pretend you know what I'm going to say ahead of time, I'm just trying to go down
FL Phil 98 is I don't know how many supporters you have, Pop. There may not be much, but if there is one, it is FL Phil 98. I don't know if you heard him call in the other day, but he defended you valiantly against the masses. So it was like, I don't know if people have seen the Game of Thrones scene with Jon Snow and the Battle of the Bastards where they're all just coming at him, but it's Pop and FL Phil 98 pulling out their swords from their sheaths and being ready to go, ready for battle, ready to attack. So, but the rest of them, I don't know.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. I just try to shoot it straight. I have no biases one way or another. Just trying to shoot down the middle. And you can like it or not like it. Listen or don't listen.
Yeah.
Turn the volume down.
Again, I'm sure that line comment is going to go over great with the fans. There's no doubt about it. Which is a perfect time, by the way, to float them in. Let's drop in the call-in line to the show, and we'll see what happens. All right, this is gonna be a doozy, I feel. Okay, let's throw this in the chat. That is now in the chat. We'll pin that as the message so you guys can that is now the pin message. So you guys can call into the show. Feel free to do so. If there's something you'd like to share on the Jets, or perhaps say to my father, I guess, which I'm sure will be happening here in just a moment. Make sure you guys, healthy reminders, we're allowing people to have the opportunity to call in to youtube.com/boygreen25 pin comment. Also streaming live on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page and on my Twitter account @boygreen25 as well. If you're watching on either of those platforms, you have to hop on over again to youtube.com/boygreen25 so you guys can interact, join the membership group, like the video, subscribe, call into the show, and all things of that nature. All of those items are exclusively available on the YouTube app. So with that being said, let's go to the phone lines here. We've got our boy who's recovering at home. Let's go to my boy EZ Edward here on the channel. How you doing, pal?
Good. Checked my sugar just about 2 minutes ago. It was 182, so that's good.
Okay, great.
It's under 200. That's good. That's beautiful overnight thing. Anyway.
Yeah. I was just going to tell you, when you said that number, I was just going to say yes. I have no idea what a good number or a bad number is. I was just going to sell it to you straight. Go, yeah, wonderful.
Healthy people are usually between 85 and 130, depending upon how much food they got in them at the time.
Oh, okay.
So when I was at 780 on Tuesday, that was insane.
Holy cow!
Jesus.
Yeah.
We're glad
But,
you're okay.
Yeah, we're glad you're back home and
Oh,
recovering.
thank you so
man.
much, Mr. Esden. I appreciate that. Or Daddy E.
Yeah,
My
there you go.
son's girlfriend calls me Daddy Z.
Oh, okay.
there you
There
go.
you go. Nice.
I hope he marries her. She's a sweet girl.
Okay, I was just about to ask. Okay, yeah. Oh, good. So you're a fan. That's good to know.
Yes, I'm a fan, and my whole family loves Christina. She's great.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, great. Shout out to Christina, baby.
Anyway, I know I ranted yesterday a little bit about Hassan Reddick.
People enjoyed that, by the way, in the comment section. There was,
I've slightly softened my stance
oh,
because I forget, you forget. I mean, these guys are making stupid money, but you got to also remember what these guys put their bodies through their entire lives, from Pee-wee football to Pop Warner and all the way up.
of course.
This may be his last chance to get a big ticket too.
Yeah, he's 29. He turns 30 in September.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And his feeling is, I don't want to play this year. I know they'll guarantee it and give me a small, a moderate raise, but I don't want to blow something out this year without a new contract with stuff. So I understand where he stands.
Sure.
Then again, he shouldn't have agreed to do it then.
Yeah.
He should have said, well, I have steps beforehand. That's where my issue really is with him, that he wasn't above board and upfront with everything, first of all. Regardless of JFM, regardless of anybody being traded, it doesn't matter. A man is as good as his word. That's my issue with him. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah, he either fake said yes at the time, said, "Oh, I'll just tell them whatever they want to hear. Let's get this trade through, and then I'm going to get what I want." So he either did that from the get-go, or he genuinely said, "Yes, sure, let's figure it out." And then, to your point, the JFM thing happened. His agent starts whispering in his ear, and they're just like, "Ha ha ha! F this. Let's go get more money." So one of those two things certainly happened. Go ahead.
It could have been something that happened as the Jets made moves, as they let people go.
Yeah.
Really, I would tell you this, and everyone's gonna whatever, a $30 million a year contract. Okay, a $30 million a year contract. The player is only getting $12 million in their pocket. Now, $12 million is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it's $30 million is only 12.
Hey, dude, I'll take $1 million right now.
Oh, that's right, right. But 50% in tax is what they pay, and 10% to the agent. 30 becomes 12. So then you just matriculate it down, right? If it's 12, it becomes 4 point whatever.
Yeah,
but,
it's
I'm with
$14 million for him this year. Right now, is currently constructed.
The other thing is the Jets really, really, really don't have a lot of cap space, and they got to sign the five kids in a year and a half. They got to make sure they sign those 5. So that's a thing.
It's definitely a game of chicken, maybe this was a plan all along to, have Jets set themselves up to need him, and the Jets make moves. And now, is he going to sit out the whole year and then see what he can get on the open market?
Well, that would be stupid because he's still under contract. The Jets will still own his ass next year.
Yeah, I believe. Again, I have not been unfortunate been able to get this confirmed by
a
cap
lose
person.
$14 million.
Yeah, I believe his contract tolls. So if he doesn't show up at any point this year, he's on the last year of his deal, 1 year left on his deal. I believe if he doesn't show up for any portion of this, he's not a free agent next year. It's not like
he's not.
It's not like you're a draft pick, and let's say this didn't happen with Olu Fashanu, but if the Jets draft Olu Fashanu, he's like, I'm never playing for the Jets. If he waited a full year, he could re-enter into the draft, and the Jets would lose him. That's true. That's part of it that players could do, but we just never see that. For a free agent, a guy under contract, I'm pretty sure it tolls, and the Jets will continue to own his rights forever. He needs to show up for some portion of the season. So I think it's like after like week 8. That's what kind of happened with Le'Veon Bell too, is you have to show up for a small portion of the offseason for it to count, count as a year. I'm pretty sure that is set to happen there for Hassan. So that's why I don't think he holds out for the whole thing. But you probably also don't want to stick to your guns on the Jets side. And if that's what he does, you're getting a compromised version of Hassan Reddick for like whatever it is, 5 or 6 games. And then it defeats the whole purpose of the trade in general because you're trying to win a Super Bowl. So it's a game of chicken right now.
Well, it's an all-in year for the Jets, and it's a showcase year for Reddick.
Of course.
So it's for him to just be here and play very well is kind of a win-win. There's no reason to have a lose-lose. It doesn't benefit anyone. So
right, and he's only getting older. Again, he's 29. He turns 30 in
Right.
September. You book a year, you're 31. All of a sudden, we start looking at him sideways. So, 100%. This is one of those situations where it's best for both parties to come to some sort of an agreement to bring everyone to the table. The Jets try to win a Super Bowl. Hassan Reddick either attempts to get a bag of money or a bigger bag of money if they reach some sort of a compromise.
Here's the thing: if Hassan Reddick absolutely kicks ass this year,
Yeah,
and Rodgers stays, I mean, he could get a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal, with deferments and stuff. One other thing I wanted to mention.
Sure.
I was listening to O'Leary, Matt O'Leary.
Of course. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he was talking about a lot of people were nervous that they were giving what's his name, Clemens, the number ones instead of McDonald. But if you remember what Saleh does every year consistently is he always gives the guys opportunities earlier in preseason to see what their progress was over the past year. Always does that. And then, he gives them the first shot. And then, because he already knows the other guys are good, so he wants to see what these guys can do with the ones early on, see how they progressed over the past year. So I wouldn't worry too much about Clemens getting number ones over McDonald.
Yeah, if that's what O'Leary said, I don't know what O'Leary's thinking because, again, to me, I don't give a
he said he said that people were saying they were worried. And Saleh will always put the 2s and 3s in the number 1 slots very early on in preseason because he just wants to see their progress with the ones for what's going to happen if they have to play.
Yeah, I was about to say if my grandma's lining up, I was going to say left guard, but actually I want Aaron Rodgers as protected as possible. So maybe not left guard, but if she was playing some other position, I don't care because again they rotate a lot and they're giving guys chances. To your point, Edward. So if anyone's freaking out, so I understand O'Leary was addressing the people that were freaking out. If you're freaking out, I think it's something never not to freak out about. We're going to get what the preseason is experimentation. What practice is experimentation?
Exactly, and Saleh does this every year. He always puts in the 2s and 3s with the ones very early on. He always does that. He always does that. So this is just SOP for him.
100%. 100%. So I can't wait. And I like Michael Clemens too. So hopefully that's the good thing about the Reddick thing. I will say that as we address this part of the conversation is with Reddick not there again. I'd love him there. We want all our players there. 89 of the 90 players there. I'd like Reddick to be that 90th player. But if he's not, Will McDonald's getting extra reps that he wouldn't have otherwise. Michael Clemens and all these cats. So that's exciting to me.
Who's that other guy that they drafted that they've been buzzing a little bit about? There's this other young kid on the defensive line that they got in the draft or an undrafted free agent. I can't remember his name.
There's a couple undrafted free agents. There's Braden McGregor. There's Eric really Watts, good. Leonard Taylor III. Those are a couple UDFAs that they have on the team. I don't think there's another drafted defensive lineman I'm not thinking of, but there's a good group there. Good group of guys.
And have you heard the progress on the guy that they got from the San Antonio Brahmas, that offensive lineman?
Yes, Cole Laval. Yeah, so I was talking about it earlier. With Jake Hansen, I'll just be blunt. Jake Hansen and Cole Laval are likely fighting for the same roster spot. And I don't think they both make it. So it's you push them both in a room, and there's a nightstick in the room. Only one of them's walking out. That's the blunt, uncomfortable truth. So with Jake Hansen missing a couple weeks, Cole Laval, if he's going to make this roster, it's going to happen right now. He's going to take the world by the jugular, get in a very dominant position, and get opportunities in the preseason, and hopefully that leads to a 53-man roster spot. So I'm sure he's been killing it so far, but now he has to take it to another level to have a chance of making this 53.
Yeah, Sala said that Stiggers is blowing his mind.
Yeah,
He
and
says
he's blowing my mind.
he says he's got these
Yeah.
natural skills that you just can't teach.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
So
spectacular, and it's exciting. But thanks, Easy, for calling in, brother, and hope you feel better.
have a good one. Thank you, Paul and Paul Senior.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, we have someone else who's not on camera, but why not? Who knows what this can be? All right, we have Jets Life's 96. Hello, pal. How are you? Yep. And nothing. All right. Sorry, Jets Life 96. Not sure what happened there. Anywho, the phone lines are open. That is, again, I was about to give the radio call-in number there for a second. That will do you no good, but you guys can call in when I'm on the radio. I actually did some radio yesterday. Let me ask you, so we'll do this as a quick aside, Pop. Were you able to listen to the radio show yesterday, or did you miss it?
I missed it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good. I wanted you to miss it, so it ended up working out. So we did a trivia game, okay? And so I ended up having to change the game. No one cares about these particulars, but I had to change the game multiple times because, like, the cast of crew and characters were gone. Like, Manchow was not on the show yesterday, so I had to come up with a trivia game for 2 of our interns. So what I came up with was a Gen Z trivia, and one of the categories was Gen Z slang. So, Father, let's give you a chance right now to see how hip you are. I will give you the Gen Z slang term, and you tell me what it means.
Just for the record, you used
Yeah.
a 70s term to see how up to speed I was on Gen Z. I just want to throw that out.
What's the 70s term I used?
Hip.
Oh, well, yeah, and you figured that one out. So, see, you're off to a great start. Okay, so here it is. Okay, let me here give you a couple here. Touch grass. Okay, this is something apparently the Gen Z community uses, which, by the way, Gen Z covers 1997 through 2012. That's the ages of like 12 to 27 is kind of the gap there of time that we're getting. So, you get touch grass. What do you believe that means?
Get in touch with reality.
That's it. Yeah. Just go outside. You've been on social media too long. So there you go, Dad. You're off to a great start. So, okay, touch grass is just basically take a walk, pal. You've been kind of cooped up too much. All right, here's another one. Let's go bussin'. What's bussin'? BUSSIN apostrophe.
That's giving someone a hard time.
No, it's good. So, like, people say that about their food. Their food is bussin'. It's good.
What's the origin of that?
That's a good question. I have no idea. That's beyond my Gen Z slang terminology. My Gen Z slang terminology was looking it up this week in a Gen Z terminology book, and then writing it on a sheet of paper. That's about as deep as it goes, to be honest.
So you didn't know either?
No.
Okay.
Some of these, I know, like touch grass. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell that means. No friggin' clue. Most of these, I'm going to be honest, I had no idea what they were. But let me see if I have the rest of them here because I don't have the sheet in front of me. It's in my book bag here. But let's see. Oh yeah, so a cap. Do you know what cap means, Pop? When someone says the common phrase that someone uses is no cap,
no limit,
no lie. So like no cap, no lie.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Okay, what about
saying no lie? Anyways, go ahead.
All right, what about Riz? RIZZ, Riz.
I should have brought your sister in here to help me.
She's
not in the window yet. She's only 11,
not.
So
right. Yeah,
but she apparently knows what these things are. So no, I don't know what Risen is.
That is Riz is like charisma. It's well, hopefully she doesn't know this one. This is like your seductive ability. Like your Riz, like you can be a schmoozer. A guy to a girl normally. I show you my Riz. They're like, oh wow, he swept me off my feet, sort of thing.
I'll show you my Riz. Can you say that?
I don't know if that's how it's supposed. I'm going to be honest. I am not as hip. I miss this generation. So I'm a millennial. So I don't. Most of these words I'm going to be honest. I had no idea. I only knew what Riz was because there's a lot of things in my social media world where people do this stupid video with something with their jawline and some sort of thing. So I kind of got the gist very quickly, but that's not a term that I use. To be honest, not sure. That, like I said, some of these just kind of went beyond my capabilities and what was possible. Okay, let me throw a couple more here, and then we'll go back to the phone lines. What about banger? What do you believe a banger is? I'll give it. Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's good enough. It's exceptional, impressive, high quality. It's a banger. What about bougie? What about bougie?
That means you're a fancy bitch. Or a basic
Yeah,
bitch.
that'll do it. Yes, bougie, high class. Yeah, that a materialistic. Oh God, that is funny. Okay, all right. Here's another good one. Caught in 4K. What do you believe that means? Caught in 4K.
You were caught in the act of doing something.
Yeah, it's that, but to like a level. So, like, if you're caught in 4K, that means like someone caught you on video or camera. They say, "Hey, man, I caught you in 4K." Like, look, you say you didn't do it, but look, it's right here. Like, we had a video camera the entire time, you
You
bastard.
got receipts.
Yeah, a receipt. Yeah, there you go. Oh, no, you're
There
hip
you
with
go.
the terms, with all that action. Let me see, and I think that's for the most of them here. Oh yeah, what's Delulu? Delulu.
I don't know. You're delusional.
That's it. See, there you go, Dad. You can figure these out. It's used to describe someone who holds unrealistic or overly idealistic beliefs. Again, it's derived from the English word delusional. So you really just gotta, if you get some of the prefixes down and some of those things, you can kind of figure it up. A couple more here. Glow up. What's a glow up?
I don't think I can say that answer.
I don't think it's what you think it is then, but
Oh.
gross. It is just a major improvement in one's appearance. They had to glow up. Like they were ugly in high school, but God, something happened, and then all of a sudden, booyah, they were there. So you know what? It's probably best that we just end it right there. All of these other things, I just can understand them all going in a very, very different direction. So let's kaput on that segment for sure. All right, let's go back to the phone lines and keep the comments flowing. We appreciate it, guys. Absolutely. People are giving other suggestions for words to use for Gen Z. People are sick. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got our boy Brandon here on the show. What's up, Brandon?
Howdy. How are y'all?
Yeah, good. Good, man.
I set my alarm so I could wake up at 6:30 and watch the show.
What a trooper.
Accidentally snoozed back asleep, so I missed the beginning of it, but I'm trying to be as quiet as I can because my wife.
Yeah, of course. I'm so sorry.
But,
yes, right. Yeah, go ahead. What's on your mind?
But I wanted to ask your dad. So, I'm also one of the people who, when your dad says "we" all the time, I'm like, so that means like you're a Jets fan now, right? Like that's your number one team.
Yeah, so it's not my number one team, Brandon, but I would tell you that I would ask you a question in return. How many times have you been to Jets training camp?
How many times?
Yeah.
None. I live in Arkansas.
Okay. Right. I've been at least 6 times.
Okay. So how many times have you been to Cowboys training camp?
Unfortunately, 0. That's true. Yeah.
I love I'm like, it's funny because, and I like giving you crap, but I'm like, I really can relate to you too because Paul's about my age, you're about my dad's age, and I always know what you're going to say to Paul and how you're going to react. My dad reacts the same way to me when I do stupid shit.
Yeah, he does a lot of it. So
I do too, believe me.
Funny material.
I will say though, I saw you cracking up when you were watching that Rich Eisen clip.
Yeah, the first one was it was very painful to watch.
I would imagine. But yeah, that seemed to get everybody as I was going through it. All of a sudden, the hype of like, yeah, Salah's the better bald-headed super. I went super deep on that one, perhaps too deep. And the better bald-headed former 49ers defensive coordinator. They're like, oh wow, this guy's really hyped up. They're 9-0. Yeah, that's a lost real. Let's be realistic. Rich. And all of a sudden, like the room got lost. Like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? So yeah. I got him a little bit. Yeah, I saw my dad too because like on the other videos, which that's the good part of how we did it this time. Normally we download the video and just play it, and you can't see anyone on the screen. You're just seeing the full Rich Eisen show on the screen. But how I had to present it today, we got an inside camera look at my father as we were going through that. That was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, that was great. It kind of caught me off guard when you first showed us that because I just wasn't expecting you to go on a rant like that, but it was great. Well,
that was a good time.
I was gonna tell you. So, when she first started dating my stepdad, I'm like, it's always like you got to impress the son. You sit down at the table and y'all have a talk. And so, the first day I met him, he was asking me some questions. I was asking him some questions, and he's like, I really like your mom, blah blah blah. And I said, "Are you a NASCAR fan?" And he was like, "Yes, like that's my favorite sport." And I was like, "Oh, are you freaking kidding me?" And I was like, "You're not a Jeff Gordon fan, are you?" He said, yeah, I'm a big Jeff Gordon fan." And I was like, "Well, at least you're not a Cowboys fan." And he goes, looked at my mom, and I go, "You have got to be fucking kidding me." I'm like, so until last year, though, we were actually 3-0 against the Cowboys. Now, I know Daddy Esden's going to say, "Well, what's the overall record against the Cowboys?" Well, we're not going to talk about that. But as long as my mom and stepdad have been together since about 2007, we were 3-0 till last year. And God bless if y'all didn't. Oh, that was awful. That was hard for me to watch. But
it was a great game. We were there live.
I know you were. I know when he was telling me that, I was like, I'd just be sitting there throwing up the whole time. Like, that'd be awful for me.
Well, I wasn't throwing up the whole time. There was a moment in the game where, Zach Wilson hits Garrett Wilson, and my dad was so like, because I'm with a bunch of Cowboys fans. There weren't a lot of Jet fans near us, but because we saw the angle of him like we saw the ass because he was going the other way, and I'm like, yeah. And then my dad gave me, I don't know how long the time was, like a 5-second celebration, right, to kind of get it out of his system. Going, yeah, screw you guys, baby, we're back in this thing. And then when I kept going, like pelvic thrusted, fist bump, like, yeah. He's like, okay, that's enough. Like he was starting to he was like looking around like, okay, pal. All right. But apparently I should have juiced it even more because apparently that was the last moment of the game, apparently for us Jet fans. So I should have taken more advantage of that, as it seems. Yeah.
Well, I do have to ask, just out of curiosity, because my stepdad's tried to get me to go to a couple games. So is the stadium really as nice and worth going to, or yeah, it looked like Paul Sr. was nodding his head, and it looked like you were shaking your head at the same time.
No, we're on the same page. I will just tell you. So, again, because I grew up in my father's house, and he's this diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, the Cowboys were built up to me to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. So in my mind, I have this idealistic view of the Cowboys Stadium, and it's obviously different than what it was when I was growing up, and then the new one, which is AT&T, and all that, and leaving the door open so God can watch his favorite football team, and the window or the sky roof open so you could see it, and all that jazz. And to go there and see it, I'm a Jets fan, so but to be in there. Oh, man, I was tearing up. The national anthem, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders coming out. They have this crazy, and they're the Dallas Cowboys, so I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. This smoke show introducing all the players and the national anthem and being there. My dad, I'm looking around like, holy friggin' crap, we are here. Like, I've seen this on Madden, AT&T. I've seen this on every primetime game for the last 30 years of the Cowboys always being on. I'm like, holy friggin' crap, we're right here. And I just tried to take a second before the game to grab my dad, go, holy shit, we are here. You've talked about this your entire life of going to one of these games, and we're here right now for a Jets Cowboys game early in the season. So again, even though the Rodgers thing, I wanted to see him, and it would have been hyped up even more, but being there, we're like, oh man, this is happening. So yeah, the stadium, some people say that things don't live up to the hype. And again, my dad set the hype train as high as it possibly could, which made it seem like it's almost impossible to achieve. and it freaking achieved it. It was a wild, crazy, awesome place to go to, and we got to tour it. The day before we got into town, we got to see the whole stadium, the nooks and crannies, get to be on the star. Me and my dad got to take a picture on the star at midfield. So yeah, it was a spectacular experience. You have to go. Hopefully, like I said, it'll be, I guess, 8 years now until Jets Cowboys meet up again in Dallas. 4 more, then we'll get it at MetLife. But if you could do it for that, that'd be spectacular. But really, any game would be tremendous. It was awesome.
I'm telling you, it's like, that's a moment y'all never forget. I kind of had a similar moment with my dad. We went to a Razorbacks game. The first college football game I ever went to was y'all might not know because y'all probably don't keep up with the Razorbacks that much, but there was a South Carolina game we played when Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, and it's like the best game that Arkansas's ever played in the history of Arkansas. And I was like, this is a normal college game. My dad's like, no, like this does not happen. Like we do not destroy people like this. But it's a moment that we have, and honestly, if your dad really loves you, he busts your balls a little bit every now and then. That's just how it goes. But
100%.
I've got a question, and then
Sure.
I don't even have to stay on for your answer, but I was kind of wanting to hear if y'all have a kind of y'all's thing as well, and people in the chat if they want to say. But so I've been to a few games, and I was just curious, out of the guys I've seen play, actually I was physically at the game and play. I wanted to see what y'all thought was like the best out of all the guys I've seen. Just give you a few people. So I've seen Peyton Manning. I've seen Kurt Warner. I've seen the whole greatest show on turf. Eli Manning, Darrelle Revis, Andre Johnson. And so I know I'm like, y'all are probably like, that's a weak list because I want to hear what other people. I want to hear y'all's list too.
Well, before you hop off, Brandon, and we will answer your question, I've received a text from BMAC. A text from BMAC, and you guys should both be on for this, okay? BMAC says, I'm at my mom's house, so I'm not there to school your dad, is the text I've received, Father. There's supposed to be some sort of a pay-per-view today of you versus BMAC, Father. Do you have any response to that text message that just came in? Again, BMAC said his mom's house, so I'm not there to school your dad. You should probably, not say anything that, oh, wow, if BMAC's at his mom's house, I guess I'll see him there later. Putting that aside, Pop, let's try to avoid that if we can. But any response to BMAC?
What are you saying that BMAC said he's at your mom's house?
No, his own mom's house. And I'm saying my father might say, yeah, BMAC, if you're there, I should see you in a little bit.
Yeah, I would never say that. I would never say he must have got there right after I left. No, but anyways, if he could polish my shoes that are underneath the bed, that'd be great. No, but seriously, I appreciate BMAC and his opinion, and I enjoy seeing him on the show. And I'm sorry that the internet is not available at his mom's house. So hopefully he has a good visit with his mom, and I'll leave it at that. Respected.
And what was your final comment there, Dad? We're sorry we missed you on the Jets chat there. Go ahead.
Yeah, respect for visiting your mom. Good job. He's a good son. So I have nothing else to say.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You'd probably call him a stepson then, I would imagine, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. But all right, Brandon, we will investigate that topic. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Hey, no problem. And yeah, it's one of them things where it's like you get ready to watch a UFC fight and somebody gets injured like the day before. It's like, where's BMAC? I wanted to see this throwdown. So
yeah, apparently scheduled the mom visit. Well, we'll have to see. Thank you, Brandon, for that. So yeah, that's why he's not available. That's not why he's not here. Before we get into the next phone call, Pop, since Brandon brought up MMA as an option, I don't think he did that on purpose. He was just talking about it on a side note, but he said like the best athletes and like things that you got to see live in person of like players and things of that nature. Boy, how is John Jones not on that list? arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. He should be fighting at some point Stipe Miocic. That's been rumored for the Thanksgiving time frame. Man, he's a beast, and obviously a local guy here in New York, where we were, and I am getting raised in Endicott, New York. So he would be a name. Come on, man. John Jones is a freak, and only one ever no contest, and that was from an illegal strike early in his career. Besides that, he's this undefeated freak. I don't know, man. John Jones would be high on that list. He mentioned Revis and guys like that. That'd be on the list. Who are some guys you've seen live, in person, athletes that would check that box for you?
Yeah, I would definitely second John Jones. He's the only one that I know that has made a multiple champion cry on national television when he smacked around Daniel Cormier like he was a little bitch that he is. So John Jones would have to be up there.
Okay.
Seeing them live, yeah, I would say, yeah, in person.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to go with John Jones in person. I didn't happen to see. I've seen some football games more now later in life than I did earlier. But I didn't get a chance to see any of those athletes live. So yeah, John Jones, 100%.
All right, hook me up with a year here, Pop. It's a preseason game. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars. What year was that we went to?
Yeah, and actually, Bullet Bob Hayes was in the building signing autographs, and shortly after that, he passed away.
Wow.
That would have been...
Is that Triplets era still, or no?
Was that probably at the end of the Triplets era? It would have been the late 90s.
Yeah, so they would have all been there still. So yeah, there you go. That I know it's a preseason game, but 100% those guys being there. Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. I remember it raining that night. We were up in whatever that stadium was called then, because now they're moving it to a new one. So, but whatever it was at the time, and we were there. And yeah, so that one was pretty cool. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we got a YouTube super chat coming in here from Brandon. Thanks for the super chat, pal. Oh, this is a great list, Brandon. And for those who are listening in, Brandon, who just called into the show, is now throwing in some super chat ones. Anderson the Spider Silva, Ronda Rousey, and Dustin Poirier as someone I've seen. Ronda, I've got both of her books back here, so shout out to my father for getting me all those and autographed. Nonetheless, I love Ronda Rousey. She's one of my favorite of all time. I wish I saw her live and in person. And Anderson Silva, and I know how everything ended and the Chris Weidman thing and the broken leg, and there's a complicated nature to the end of that story. But Anderson Silva is a freak, man. How he escaped Chael Sonnen, where it looked like Chael was going to end all of our hopes and dreams. And then Anderson in the final minutes of the final round, after it looked like he was getting beat, he was just laying on him the entire time, didn't let him do anything. And he escapes a victory. It was great. Dustin Poirier, that Louisiana bastard. I'm a Conor McGregor guy, so screw that bastard. But, that's fine. Dustin, the Diamond Poirier. We'll see if he has one more fight in him or if he ends up retiring. But all these are great names, Pop. All these are great.
That's right. Actually, I think we saw Anthony Johnson fight Phil Davis on that same card. So
yeah, Rumble. Yeah, God rest his soul too. Another guy
right.
that left us too early. So
some of the other names on that card were Max Holloway, Luke Rockhold, Tim Bosch. Yeah, so it was a good card.
Yeah, that was a UFC Baltimore spectacular. So
and of course we saw David Ortiz that same weekend.
So. Big Poppy, yeah, that's right. So yeah, obviously he would be a legend. And again, I hate bringing this one up, but I guess I did see him a handful of times in person. Tom Brady. That's stupid. Whatever, man. He doesn't count on my list, but I guess he counts on the list for all his accomplishments. But yes, I saw that bastard too. So yeah, Rumble was one of the greats. So God rest his soul. That it was. And yes, the broken leg fight. It was what I was referencing for Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman the second time. The first time is when I believe Silva was goofing around. He fake got hurt, and then Weidman caught him and got him down. That's what he did. They did the rematch. He snaps his leg, and then, like I said, it feels like this unfinished story. It felt like the only reason Weidman got him the first time was because Silva was goofing around, and then the second time was a broken leg, and then never the same, and then we never get it. So, yeah, that's too bad. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. We've got one of our favorites, Johnny Boy here. What's up, Johnny?
So, guys, you said Big Poppy, and I
Mhm.
appeared.
There you
Yeah,
go.
wow. Okay, it's like a
See what he
genie
did there.
lamp. Yeah.
What's going on, Papa Eisen? How you holding up, man?
Doing great. Doing great.
Appreciate you every time you come on, man. Throw some knowledge up on here. So, just dope. But hey, man, what's going on with your Cowboys over there, man? I even heard the Dallas cheerleaders are not going to show up to training camp too.
That's true. It's true. Well, they had to catch a bus after they left the house here. So
Oh,
Oh, hey
oh,
now. Oh, wow.
just
Hey.
kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. Nothing can replace my lovely wife. Just for the record.
Obviously, of course. But let me just say this before my father gets into the Cowboy conversation, because a lot of it is Dak Prescott. We had two big deals happening over the last 24 hours in the quarterback market as Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa and Adam Schefter here. Jordan Love is now the highest paid, or tied rather, for the highest paid quarterback in NFL history at $55 million per year. That's three in that club now. There's Jordan Love. Trevor Lawrence got paid this offseason, and Joe Burrow was a previous deal, but that's the highest paid quarterback right now at $55 million per year. And Tua sneaks in just at fourth now on that group. He's at 53.1. That's just edging out Jared Goff. So your top five are, which is kind of crazy to say out loud. This is the top five highest paid quarterbacks in football. It's Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jared Goff. If you would have told me that 2 years ago, I'd be like, wow, okay. Which one of this group does not belong like the other? But that's neither here nor there, which obviously puts a lot of pressure on your Cowboys, Pap, on that Dak Prescott deal. Yikes. Now all the big deals have fallen. There's no more big deals at quarterback that we're waiting for. Those were the two.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to, I think it's impossible to get all the three deals done. And you got to figure out who you're not going to sign, who you're not going to keep, right? There's no way to keep all three of them. So who you're going to keep, who you're not going to keep. And you just look at those five names you just mentioned, right? Dak Prescott is going to get paid higher. He would have probably already. Obviously, the last person gets paid the most. I don't know if they can pay him.
He's
right?
going to be a $60 million man, I think.
Yeah,
I
wherever
think
he
Dak
plays.
is going to be the first one. Yeah.
Wherever he plays next year, he's gonna be $60 million. I mean, 2025.
So you don't think so? Long story short, so two things here. First off, by the way, the good news for Micah Parsons could be making Cowboys camp hell right now. He has chosen to take a step back. Said you guys could just figure me out in 2025. If he was like Hassan Reddick, he'd be like, pay me now, and then it could be more drama. Like there's drama in Dallas, but that could be much worse. So credit to Micah Parsons for stepping back, saying let's pay these other guys first. Really cool of him to do that. He doesn't have to, but like CeeDee Lamb obviously wants to get paid. You have to do that one now. He's holding out, and then Dak. So you think Dak is gone? He's going to play out this year. They're not going to pay him ahead of time, and then like let's figure it out next year with whoever the hell's the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, it's just a very weird situation. The whole thing. I'm not sure what they're going to do. You got to decide. You're really going to decide between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. Who are you going to keep longer? So I don't know. It's a mess. They should have taken care of it last year when they had the option to, and they waited. They could have probably saved, $5 or $10 million a year for a 4-year contract.
Yeah. Easy. And so, I mean, really, it dates back to the first time. Just to, I know we're going crazy Cowboys here, but like on that first deal of waiting for so long is the real thing that effed them. And then he got a great deal, which forced them into the other one, and that was the 4-year deal, and it got them into all kinds of craziness. We'll see. Go ahead, Johnny.
I mean, so the reason I said that, right, kidding around, is the whole CeeDee Lamb situation, right? And then we're talking about possibly wanting to get like a Devontae Adams. If that's the case and CeeDee Lamb does not get that bag or anything, he's going to be a free agent, right? Do we go ahead? Is it a free agent or unrestricted free agent?
Yeah, he might be. I don't know if he's a free agent. I think he's got a little bit of time, but let me double check on that deal real quick. See what they have available there. And plus, so obviously I have the franchise tag potential in their back pocket too, because Micah Parsons isn't due for a couple more years too. So they've got a little bit of wiggle room from that perspective. But the thing I will say as I'm pulling up the CeeDee Lamb contract thing is I just think that, he eventually is going to show up to camp. I think that's one that the Cowboys get done, unless they just trade him before. But it doesn't make any sense because they're as all in, as Jerry Jones has said several times here on the docket. They're quite all in on that. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, it looks like he's in his 5th year right now. So I do believe, I think you're right here. Yes, he's in the 5th year now, and then next year he's set to be an unrestricted free agent unless they tag him or something. So you're right, Johnny.
So that's what I'm saying. So, and especially if Aaron Rodgers is going to end up staying a lot longer, right? Would we go after CeeDee Lamb instead of Devontae? Because, like, let's just say we go AFC Championship, right? And we lose there, and the missing piece is another wide receiver there, especially since Mike Williams might leave us. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's younger. We've been saying this since the very beginning for like a while back, BG. I mean, would you swing at that? Would that one be one of the players that you would say, let's get them and look good in the green and white?
If my fiance won't see this, right? Can we trade our unborn child for CeeDee Lamb? Can we, what do we have to do to get CeeDee Lamb in here? I mean, for the love of everything that's holy, that is, and again, it goes back to the 2020 draft. I wanted CeeDee Lamb number 1. But I knew as a fan / content creator, I had to take a step back and say, despite what I want, there's zero chance the Jets are doing this. If one of the top 4 offensive tackles on the board, that's 1,000% what they're going to do. And I understand why, because offensive tackle over wide receiver. So I was in love with CeeDee Lamb. Number 1 wide receiver that year. I wanted him so bad, but I just said one of those 4 is going to be there. And it ended up being 2 of the 4 were there because Tristan Wirfs went to the next pick. Sorry, Jet fans. He went the next pick to Tampa Bay. So I wanted him bad back then. I would love CeeDee Lamb. And maybe to my dad's point, he has kind of reached this realization that they will not be able to keep all 3. And since Micah, we're not even going to talk about him till next year, he's probably one of the 3 you keep, which means now it's more paramount that they have to make a decision on potentially one of the 2, unless they sign those 2, and then Micah's the one who's out later. It sounds like they're going to have to make a decision now, which maybe that benefits the Jets.
Can you see your dad how pissed off he is at you and I right now?
He is. He's livid.
No, I'm not. I'm not mad at all. If I was mad, I would say something like, didn't the Jets have the opportunity to draft both of Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and passed over? Who did they take in place of both of them?
I believe that was Zach Wilson and Mekhi Becton. I believe those were. Yeah,
that does not taste good.
Oh, well. Yeah. Well, again, that's
Mekhi's over there throwing up now like 50 times.
Oh my God! Yeah, have you guys seen that? Like, man, boy, did the Jets dodge a bullet. And again, I love Mekhi. We followed each other on social media. Mekhi Becton talking about the former Jets offensive tackle. I was rooting for him, and he ends up signing with the Eagles, obviously, this offseason. And I was kind of like, that's too bad. But, well, the Jets got to go in their own direction. And then, yeah, he apparently puked 10 times, an Eagles reporter said, on the sideline in the summer heat of Philadelphia. And I'm like, boy.
They don't even do 2 days anymore. You know what else will make you puke? If you eat too much bacon.
Okay. Oh, which there's your sign. We need some sort of a bacon emoji for my father as he's signing off here. But yes, I would just say that part, just thank God. Because think about this. The Jets starting offensive tackles last year with Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton. We have Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. It is night and day. And to a level, and they have depth. There you go. You just said it, Johnny. And Olu Fashanu is the break the glass. They're in such a special place. It's absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild. So,
that beautiful pass from Aaron Rodgers, that 60-yard bomb over to freaking Garrett Wilson on the side, like just flicking his wrist. We've never seen something like that. And I know your pops does not like A-Rod like that. It's just we've never, like, the Jets have never had a quarterback like that. I mean, the last quarterback to do something with the strength of an arm like that. I mean, probably Joe Willie, dude, because I mean, Chad Pennington, his arm wasn't that strong like that. Vinny T wasn't that strong. I mean, the Sanchez, maybe, right? It's exciting, like, is what I'm trying to say. And then,
just for the record, I don't dislike Aaron Rodgers. I think some of the things he's done is off, not the best thing, but I don't dislike him. And I hope he stays healthy and plays well this year. That's my prediction. The season prediction was based on him being healthy. I hope he is.
Can I ask you a quick question, Pop? On your playlist is "Walk Like an Egyptian" by the Bengals. Is that on your Spotify playlist?
No, but Taking Care of Business, which is all about showing up to work when you're supposed to, is. Just for the record.
Ah, okay.
I'm Floyd Mayweather, the counterpuncher. So you just threw a shot and got knocked out, just for the record.
Nope.
Hey, and my last
Okay.
thing, real quick.
Yes.
On our show, right? We do this, and I wanted to throw it to your pops because I know he's a UFC guy.
Yeah, the 411, by the way, every Friday night at 6:00. Yeah, guys, check it out.
We do this thing called Bang, Marry, Ghost, right? So we do like the top of the top people that you think are in the sport, and we say if you had to pick, like, who would you marry, who would you bang, and who would you ghost, right? And with that being said, I know you love UFC, and I wanted to throw these three names at you, right? George St. Pierre, Anderson the Spider Silva, and then of course John the Bones Jones. Bang, marry, ghost.
Go ahead, Pop.
Yeah, so that's tough. Anderson Silva, George
GSP.
St. GSP. So I'm a big fan of all of those. The Spider, GSP. I would have to. I'm going to go backward. I'm going to have to ghost GSP. He, and the real reason behind it is he kind of Barry Sanders the fighting game, right? He kind of walked away and didn't come back. He had to get some of his stuff together, but you got to ghost somebody, right? You have three guys, you got to ghost one, and based on that, you're going to ghost him. All
right, who are you banging?
Yeah, I don't really want to use that vernacular with any of them. So I wanted to stay in a long term with Jones, so I'd marry him, and then whatever the other one happens, I'm not going to say it, but yeah.
Who's that? So you're marrying Jones, and then you're banging Silva.
That's right.
Or Silva bangs you. I don't know, man.
No. I'll break his other leg. We'll have two linguine noodles. He'll be walking on.
Good Lord.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys. BG, dude, always a pleasure. Papa Eisen, always a pleasure as well. I really look forward to seeing you guys on the 19th of September. It's going to be an awesome and a great time. We still got to do the BG toss. So
that's right.
Fine about that. And hey, enjoy your bacon.
All right. Thank you.
There you go. There we go. Johnny joining us on the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the 400 people live in the room here on a Saturday morning. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. But we have Jets practice today, guys, so go enjoy it. Saleh's set to speak in a couple hours. The Jets have a day off tomorrow, and then they have full pads coming up on Monday. We don't have a day off. We'll be back on the show tomorrow morning at 7:30. Go ahead, Pop.
Yeah, just for the record, I love GSP, but someone had to get ghosted. So there you go.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to add any additional commentary to the banging, marrying, or ghosting. I'm just glad you got asked that question, not me. Wonderful. Anywho, thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you at a future point, including tomorrow morning at 7:30. Take care, everybody, and enjoy your weekend.